Hey, everybody, it is Thursday. Welcome to the show. This is Back to the Window with Scott and Scott. I am your host, Scott Steen, lead handicapper at winnersandwiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Rochelle, senior handicapper over winnersandwiners.com.
And together we do this each and every single day, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Shout out to Tim Earl. What up, Timmy? We did Total Chaos last night together, Scott. Tim and I did, and we'll see how all that comes out.
I'm assuming it was all baseball.
In the house. What's that?
I'm assuming it was all baseball and hockey.
All baseball, baby. All baseball.
No hockey?
No hockey. First true baseball show of the year. So,
did I tell you how mine went earlier in the week?
How'd it go?
So I ended up doing it with Sean Higgs, and we had the tiebreaker with Price is Right rules.
Yeah, that's right.
Totals for the Spurs-Pelicans game. He had 213. I had 217. Game landed 216. I believe I went over. So that's a loss right there. Yeah. So I lost by the Price is Right rule by 1 point. So there you
go. Brutal. Growing up, that was my life's goal. I wanted to play tuba in the Price is Right band just so I could play that part.
Nice. It's either that or the one with the yodel music when you have the hiker going up the mountain.
Yeah. That's a good one too. Today's torture song, by the way, I cut Scott a break. Played a little Slipknot for him, so I know he enjoyed that.
It was kind of a medley today.
Well, yeah, we listened to a little Bob Dylan, and we finished it up with Paradise City by Guns N' Roses, a song of which I made Scott laugh when I told him that I had my children convinced into their mid-teens that I actually played the whistle on the intro to that song. So, Oh man, kids are so gullible. They're fun though. I recommend having some, Scott. You should get started on that, buddy.
I'll keep it in mind.
Okay, fair enough. Jacob Houston, happy Thursday. Yeah, absolutely. Let's cash some tickets, baby. King Me is in the house. Best bet, Dodgers run line and the Angels run line, keeping it in Southern California. All righty then. Does it concern you that so many people are on the Cardinals today at plus 120? I think that's a terrible spot for the Brewers. It's Woodruff going again. Scott and Woodruff absolutely sucked the donkey dick his last start. So
I was going to say concerning is a strong word because if you're going by the short sample size of 2022, then the Cardinals should be like minus 130 because Wainwright was amazing his first start and Woodruff was awful.
Yep.
But I do like the Cardinals in this spot. The issue is that Milwaukee's not a great offensive team. Woodruff, I expect to get under control at some point. I'm not sure if it's going to be this time around, but it's Wainwright. He's with Molina. You know he's going to pitch well. It's kind of just par for the course at this point. I do like the Cardinals, though. I think you're getting a decent price. Do you think the Brewers should be like minus 140? I don't.
No, I would take I don't hate Cardinals over 3.5 either.
I feel like if you like the Brewers or if you were making the lines yourself unbiasedly, Brewers minus 120.
Yeah, I think that's closer. I think
140 just seems ridiculous. So the value from these Cardinals are past.
I think you got about 10% overlay there, so I'm on that. Tim Earl says Tampa Bay, Oakland over Ocho.
Already got there, so that's a nice win.
Very good. That's right. That's the we talked about that. Oakland once again jumping all over Tampa Bay. So what is it, Scott? Is Oakland good or does Tampa Bay suck?
Oakland's 4-3 now. That winning streak of 5.5? It's in jeopardy right now. They're about to win what, 2 in a row, 3 in a row?
Yeah, they're almost halfway home.
I mean, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, the Rockies are 4-1. I like the over for the Rockies win total when we did our breakdowns, but they're not good. You know, you get off to decent starts, it happens.
Where the fuck did you get off on the Rockies?
Because the point is that it's still early season, so Oakland's better than people thought. The Rockies are better than people thought. Does it matter? Not really. Like long-term over a 162 sample size, I'm sure Oakland and Colorado will still suck.
Okay.
So
all right.
Don't overreact a week into the season on what teams look decent. You got a long way to go.
Very good. Tim Earl says Guns N' Roses are fire. You asked me if I like Guns N' Roses as I was playing that song. I said I like Appetite for Destruction, and that's about it. I didn't have much use for. Did you like Chinese Democracy?
I don't think anybody likes Chinese Democracy.
I remember I was with a buddy of mine, and he was like the world's biggest Guns N' Roses fan, and he like had it the day it came out. We listened to it. I'm like, dude, I don't want to tell you this, but this is not very good.
Yeah, it was a meh. I mean, it's not anything special. So Jacob, you're saying that Woodruff under 17.5 outs is plus 140?
120.
Well, then he said 140 after that. The under?
40?
Plus
The
140.
under?
I mean, that's I don't know what book you have, but I feel like that's a play you got to make on principle, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know Woodruff can go length, but it's still the early portion of the season.
Right. And these guys were short spring.
Yeah, he went less than 4 his first time out. And we're going to mention what happened with Kershaw later on in the show, but we've seen a lot of short leashes for pitchers.
Yeah.
140. Yeah, I got to be tempted by that.
Yeah.
You might lose, but 140 is a ridiculous price.
Yeah. Especially with the fact that he, sucked his first outing. So,
it's 17 ERA. So
you've got that to go on. So, yeah. And again, Woodruff was a guy that gave you a lot of length consistently last year. I actually saw Woodruff pitch last year. He's very good. Royals, I think, beat him 3-2, but he was outstanding. I was impressed.
Was that the Bubic game you went to when Bubic was nails?
Yes, that was exactly.
Was 3-2 or 1-0?
Dude, it might have even been 1-0.
I thought it was 1-0.
I think you're right. Now that I think about it, yep. It's at MGM 140. Yes, sign up.
I mean, even if it loses, the value's there.
Yes, you've made the right play. You can sleep well even with a lighter bank account. James Mounts in the house. What's up, buddy? All right, quick reminder, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. We sure appreciate it. And I didn't write anything clever today if you don't subscribe. So just make sure that you subscribe to both of our YouTube channels. That's the main takeaway here, our Winners and Winers YouTube channel, as well as our I won't even say new endeavor anymore, our ongoing endeavor over there at Max Wagers Network. Having a great time. I think everybody has melded very well from the Picks and Parlays crew. And I know I have a good time on their show. They seem to have a good time when they're with us. So, yeah, there you go. And, of course, we've got a couple of promos cooked up, as we often do. The first one that we're doing is with the good folks over there at DraftKings. And this is a kind of a handy thing for baseball. You make any $5 money line bet on a baseball game, you get $200 in bet credit. And it is you must be located in one of the states. See, I got to get the tough read because I got all the states: Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Iowa, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, Wyoming, or West Virginia. You must be 21 or older, 18 in New Hampshire and Wyoming. Did you just write that in there?
No.
Okay. It's been there the whole time?
Yeah.
Wow. We also looked up, what is the other one? Rhode Island and Washington.
Yeah.
But DraftKings isn't there, but those are the other 18 states. So if you're a college student, you're looking for, if you're,
senior in high school.
If you're a high school senior, yeah, you're looking to haven't made that college decision yet. You at least got a couple more options for your safety school. Like I said, it's for first-time DraftKings Sportsbook customers only. Must register using the promo code, make the deposit of $5 or more. That's right. $5 or more, big spenders. Come on. Throw that link in there, and you got to make the money line bet between 4/11 and the 1st of May. If your bet wins, you'll receive the $200 in free bets, in addition to any cash winnings from your original wager. Once it's settled, use the promo code WAW Video. That's Winners and Winers Video, and of course, the link is in the show description. Scott, you got anything happening at Caesars you want to tell the folks about?
Well, funny you should ask, because Caesars is also having a promotion, and if you like to potentially bet with a little bit of an insurance policy, they got something for you, because they have an $1,100 first bet insurance play, which means if you end up placing your first-time wager of up to $1,100 and you lose, you get it back in the form of a free bet. So you get to basically get a second chance of either making profit or getting your money back.
That's cool. That's very good. And
promo code is ATS win SCZR, and it's going to be also in the description down below.
All right, very good. See, that one always throws me too. The ATS win CZR. So, all right, bud.
CZR.
We got a lot to get to, so let's do it. Let's talk.
Do we have a lot to get to?
Well, we have a lot of features.
We have a lot of segments, but I mean, it's a pretty light card.
Right. But I mean,
I know what you're trying to say. I'm just busting your chops.
Okay. It's fine. That was just a weird place. I wasn't looking for the interjection there.
Yeah.
Like, well, we got a lot. No, you're a fucking liar. We got nothing. We got nothing on the show today. We're going to spend another 30 minutes talking about hot dogs. Don't lie, fat boy. All right. Hey, I don't need to hear from you. All right, here we go, Scott. So yeah, it is pretty much, it's a baseball hockey card. Let's not lie. But we do have a couple of segments. I really want to talk about both of them. Sometimes we have segments and we don't get to them, but this time I definitely want to get to them. Let's start off and find out what happened yesterday. The good news, the bad news, the winners, the whiners, the people that took it in the shorts, and the people that took it to the bank. Let's find out who you are in today's edition of Call the Cops. All right, very good. If you had the Hawks and the Hornets on the under 234.5, you probably thought you were good when you were sitting at 4 minutes and it had barely climbed into the 200s. You're at 205 with 4 minutes left. Scott, do you think you're good there?
You usually are, unless it's the NCAA tournament.
Right. And it wasn't, I mean, it was sort of a close game, but it wasn't like NBA close where you really thought it was going to be a lot of scramble. Guess what? Well, you're wrong because they scored 30 points in the last 4 minutes. That game landed 235. Yikes.
Would have been a worse beat because most numbers were available at 235.5. But you had the very nice block there with LaMelo trying to hit a layup down 29 points at the buzzer. So
what did you text me when that happened, Scott?
I bet you, how much money do you think LaMelo had on the over?
Exactly right.
But either way, going to baseball, if you had the Orioles plus 1.5 on the reverse run line against the Brewers, it was a tie game entering the ninth inning. The Brewers scored 2 runs in the top of the ninth, including a 2-out RBI double. So it was 3-2. You had a shot there, but they gave up another run, and the Orioles went quietly in the ninth, lost 4-2.
Orioles, Jesus, that's I don't know if that's the worst one of the year yet in baseball. It's certainly not good, not good at all. Hey, if you had the Cubs Pirates over 8.5, well, as you suspected, there was some shitty pitching, and it happened early. 8 runs in the first 4 innings. You got that beer, you pop the tab, you're just going to sit back, you're just going to wait for that last run to come.
I think you need to say that again. How many runs they have? With total of 8.5?
8, Scott. We need 1 run in the next 5. That's it.
Okay.
One run in the next 5. And it wasn't tied 4-4, by the way. So
yeah.
You didn't get it. That's why you're on this segment. You didn't get that run in the last 5 innings. You sat in that 8, much like the 4 that I had in the Padres game, Scott. I took a little shot at the over 6.5 and did not get there. So scored no more runs from the time I made that bet. Very similar to that. Either way, call the Cops.
Yeah, not a fun time. I see people mentioning in the comment section about the Astros, how they ended up leading in the 10th inning and gave up 2 runs there. Yeah, I mean, the McCormick drop was pretty brutal, but it's extra innings. You score 1 run in the top of the 10th. Yeah, it's like a bunch of random shenanigans always happens in extra innings.
All right. And let's not going to lie. Just for the sake of brevity, we keep it at 3. Yeah. Sometimes there's 5 or 6.
Yeah, pretty much.
Editorial decisions must be made. So sorry. If your Cops didn't make it, we apologize. Oh, this is where I talk. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I was waiting for you to segue into. I wasn't expecting a point of interjection there. So
it's only like our 300th show, so I'm still kind of getting the hang of it. All right,
working out the kinks.
He's still working out the kinks. So there was some good news. There was the people out there that had those easy winners, and yeah, you know the drill because you were sitting in the rocket chair.
So the first one, if you had the Guardians, team total over 4.5 against the Reds, hitting the ball pretty well lately. They scored 5 runs in the first 4 innings, and they finished with 7.
Very good. Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way, my favorite Marvel movie.
It's 1 or 2?
1. I would say 2 is probably my second favorite.
It's a good soundtrack.
The 80s stuff. Yeah, it's killer.
Good stuff.
But, my kids look at me because my son's like really into Marvel. Mm-hmm. Like goes to all the premieres and the whole thing. And I tell him that's my favorite Marvel movie. He just fucking shakes his head like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna lie, I love the talking raccoon. It really does it for me. Scott, Yeah, the Red Sox Tigers over 7.5. Well, that one was pretty easy. You know how you don't get beat in the last 5 innings, Scott? You just fucking do it in the first 4. They put up 8 runs in the first 4, but because it was 7.5 instead of 8.5. See, there's a difference. You win. Congratulations. Game ended 9-7, so you'd have won anyway. Congratulations, Red Sox Tigers overholders. You cashed that ticket early.
And the last one was actually my play of the day. If you had the Spurs and the Pelicans under 226.5, you had 2 quarters with less than 50 points. So you were in pretty good shape, and the game landed 216.
Never doubt. Man, well, we'll talk about that because just a couple of no-shows last night. Yeah, we got to talk about this too because this happened right after we got off the air, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, it was really close. And of course, gambling Twitter and baseball Twitter are all.
I think it happened during
the show. Was it?
Yeah.
Did we talk about it?
I believe so. Yeah, I mentioned it briefly, and then something.
I couldn't remember we talked about it on the show or we were talking about it. We were talking after the show. Anyway, you guys might suspect who this is. It is the and it could be some blame to go around. We're going to find out. Let's first we have to make the award. Let's find out who's wearing the golden feed bag today. It is the Thursday version of Donkey of the Day. I really hope you guys were listening to us early when we first started doing this. We were just doing it on radio because for the first, 3 months, every time they play that, we just laugh our ass off. We're like juvenile children. So
I still do. I chuckle.
It's hard not to. It really is. So Scott, Clayton Kershaw yesterday, just like we predicted, he was all the way back. Great pitcher, Hall of Famer, having his best season ever. No, I said I thought he would. I thought he would not.
I thought he'd be fine. I mean, I'm still expecting him to get injured at some point during the year.
I thought he'd get injured, and I thought he'd have an ERA somewhere in the 3.7 to 4 range and be just a slightly above average pitcher. But that was not the case yesterday against the Twins, as he was perfect for the first 7 innings through just 80 pitches. Scott, he's cruising. So of course we send him back out there. That's early in the season, so maybe you only let him get a hit or put a guy on base, whatever. Nope. We're going to put it in the hands of the Dodgers bullpen. It's a nice, easy lead. Dodgers were up, I think, 6-0 at that point. They hadn't won late. Either way, they had it well in hand. So you don't let Clayton Kershaw go after his perfecto. Scott, agree or disagree?
Well, Kershaw postgame basically said he had one simulated start of 75 pitches, and that was what his ceiling was supposed to be, give or take, whatever. I don't give a damn. You're going for a perfect game. There has not been many of those. And as memorabilia is talking about, people remember Koufax's perfect game. Maybe not the rings as much from the 50s and 60s Dodgers, because perfect games are insane. I think you got to let him try it. Worst case scenario, you bring him back out for the eighth, and you just see how he does. You monitor him carefully. You mentioned the one base runner idea. That's fine too. At least let him try. I feel like Kershaw at this point is such a veteran pitcher, and to be honest, he might be the best pitcher of this generation. I know the playoff numbers don't back the second part up, but regular season, he's the Peyton Manning of pitching?
Yeah, I would say
21st century?
I'd say for the aughts.
Yeah.
Or I'm the tens rather, sorry.
I'm saying, yeah, I say 21st century is probably the best pitcher in the regular season.
Yeah, I think you could probably find a lot of statistics to back that up.
Yeah,
I would guess he's close to the most wins, and yeah.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yep.
You know, he's earned the right. He'll get his jersey retired by the Dodgers when he retires. Let him decide. Can you let him choose if he wants to potentially go out there for
Do you know that he didn't decide?
Do I know if he didn't, for a fact?
Do you know for a fact that he did not decide?
I feel like Roberts probably gave him a pointed question and said, we're going to sit you. You okay with that? And I'm sure Kershaw, being a good team player, said, do what you got to do. And Roberts pulled him. That would be my guess of what happened.
My guess shades the other way. My guess is Kershaw.
You think Kershaw was the one who decided I'm done?
Said, Skip, I'm done. Yep. And I think it's exactly because of the shortened spring training. I mean, having guys pulled early in the season when they're in the middle of a no-hitter is not unusual. So the only thing that gives it a little extra color is the fact that it was a perfect game.
I just think it was a pointed question. Kershaw should have probably done a better job of pleading his case. I think Roberts would have kept him in if Kershaw had a Scherzer moment and was about to throw a massive fit if they were going to actually pull him. But Kershaw, pretty reserved guy emotionally. Occasionally he'll, have an angry moment, but every pitcher does at some point. But I feel like Roberts should have read the room a little bit better and at least let him come out, taking a batter at a time. Just see what happens. See if he can get through the 8th inning in 10 pitches.
Okay. Well, if Roberts made the decision, I think he is a complete 100% wanker, because that's a possibility for just a moment, immortality almost.
I think it was mutual. I don't think that he acted alone. I think Kershaw might have been leaning him to a direction, but either way, you got to at least try. Like, you're standing in the way of history. You got to try something.
Jacob Houston said Nolan Ryan threw up in his mouth a little yesterday. Yeah, I was reading somebody tweeted either 70 Sports Takes, which is a great follow. But I think he said Nolan Ryan threw 235 pitches in a start.
Could have been. It wouldn't surprise me.
Made his next start on 3 days rest and then pitched 19 more years.
Mm.
So, to me, that's kind of the elephant in the room that we just haven't talked about over the last 5 years, is why pitchers just can't go the distance anymore. You see complete games, and you and I use Baseball Reference a lot, and you see some of the old timer guys or some of the guys that even earlier in their careers had 7, 9, 10 complete games, and you just don't. That's just unheard of. Now
we've mentioned this in the past, where I feel like I can't make the same case with Nolan Ryan because he had the velocity that a lot of guys didn't have. I feel like at this point, with the amount of speed or velocity, I should say, that these pitchers are throwing out with the spin rates and everything like that, because of how much sheer force you're generating, you're kind of pushing the limits of the human body, right?
I think that's the case. I think that's the case you have to make. And even though these guys are in better shape, they certainly work out harder. But you're right. There's a certain, a human being can't run a 40-yard dash in a second and a half. There's a ceiling, and it's the same with throwing a baseball. It seems to be somewhere about 104 or 105, maybe, if you believe some shit. But that's it. So the strain that it puts on the arm, the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, all that shit. Yeah, it's something that you've only got so many in you. So I think
I just feel like at some point you can make the case. Well, Jordan Hicks, I remember when he got called up for the Cardinals, he's throwing 106, like with some movement on there, and what do you know? His arm blew out. Like, it's a situation where you can train all you want. The human body is only capable of doing so much. So at some point, you're going to keep pushing the boundaries. I do believe eventually they're just going to reach a point where the body can't handle it.
Yep. Lane Ellis says analytics is changing everything, and that's why some of these pitching stats will never be touched because of the way they're rotating pitchers. Arm strength as well. Yeah, that's absolutely right. You're going to see, obviously, complete games, wins. I don't know that anybody will ever win 30 again. Win records, because you're getting them. You're getting them out.
Season?
What's that?
You mean in a season for wins? At some point, we're not even going to see, like you said, 30. I think 25 is almost unachievable at this point.
You'll have the weird season because they're making 33 starts roughly.
But it's also about innings. I mean, some of these starters don't even go 5 innings anymore.
Correct. And if they do, if you just go 5, obviously you open up a potential for more lead changes and more variance as far as what the game's doing. Let's face it, if you're a starter going 7 or 8, you probably had a pretty good handle on who was going to win the game. And a lot of times you were in charge of it. I think the Royals put the final nail in the coffin of that with their bullpen that they had back in their run in 14 and 15, where they just really needed their starters to go 6.
Go 5 or 5 or 6, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, 6 ideally, but even 5 you could work. You had a rotation of 5th inning guys, but you had the 7th, 8th, and 9th guys. The 7th, 8th, 9th inning, you had that role with Herrera and Holland and Davis. Boom. And it was I think a lot of people took notice of that and said, no, well, shit, there's no reason to push our starters. So, and it's certainly a trend that started well before that.
I was going to say, I'm fine with that philosophy in the playoffs. But in the regular season, when you're eating up innings and you don't have many off days and you're trying to keep your bullpen rested, you kind of need your starters to go at least 6 in some spots.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, it wasn't something, but it was just what it did was if there was a you could put a weaker starter in there if you knew you had a shortened bridge. Disagree that these guys are not average individuals. Oh, they're gifted athletes. They get paid a lot of money.
I'm not saying they're not gifted athletes. I'm just saying when you're talking about what the human body itself is capable of, eventually even peak genetics is going to reach a point where you just can't go any harder or any faster. And I feel like if you keep putting so much torque and so much strength in your training all the time, your body's just going to wear down.
I think that's the only excuse. I mean, because you can't say these guys are softer. You just can't, because as far as any metric you can measure,
I don't know if they're softer or just the medical information was so outdated back then that people just didn't know any better.
4 out of 5 right-handers recommend Pall Mall. That's the cigarette of winners.
Well, I don't know if I've been watching this documentary that people on YouTube were doing about Dave Stieb. You remember Dave Stieb?
Of course, for the Blue Jays and the A's. Yeah.
They were talking about how he had a couple of starts with like a bone spur in his arm, and he was pitching for like 2 months after the bone spur. Like in today's league, you'd be on the shelf for like 4 months.
Yeah, you're getting an MRI. The
point is, people didn't know any better. It's like, oh, you got a bone spur? It hurts a little bit. Yeah, it sucks for you.
Part of that is everything was major surgery. There was no laparoscopic surgery.
Yeah.
So you used to have to open up the whole fucking thing, and anytime you open up the body, obviously you're going to put trauma on it, and it's longer recovery time, all that. So when you can do it laparoscopically, have shorter recovery times, less invasion of the body. There's so many things, so many techniques that are better today. Somebody's talking about Tommy John, how it's almost de rigueur for today's pitcher. That's not even unusual anymore. I'd love to know what percentage of pitchers have had Tommy John surgery. 50,
in the majors, or just at any point in their
no, in the majors
lives?
That they've had it. Major league pitchers that have had it at some point.
Okay.
20-25% maybe.
I was going to say 30. Like, I feel like it used to be probably it was probably in the single digits. I don't even know. It's 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. James Mouth. That was the philosophy of baseball for the first 150 years. Yeah, rub a little dirt on it. You're fine. Fucking go out there and play. And I think a lot of these guys had shortened careers because of it. And then you had just freaks of nature like Nolan Ryan. In Nolan Ryan, Scott, I know you live in the city, you're a city boy, but out here in the flyover, we got something called Country Strong, where you're not a fucking gym rat, you're not lifting weights, you're out there fucking tossing bales of hay, you're just doing shit, you're active, you're fucking working out, you're just fucking country strong, and that's what
he's country strong, yeah.
Yep, exactly.
The same thing with Bo Jackson.
Yeah, Bo Jackson used to brag about never working out.
He wouldn't work out, he would just hunt, and it's just like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like, yeah, I can just run a 4.2. Just nobody knows why.
My dad got to take Bo Jackson fishing. I ever tell you that? They
had a story for everything, but no.
Then a mutual friend of a guy that my dad worked with was big into baseball cards, and he knew Bo Jackson from signing. And Bo, of course, loved to hunt and fish. And here in Kansas City, he didn't fucking know anybody. So my dad, a very prodigious fisherman, we've talked about that before, hooked him up. My dad took him out and caught him a shitload of crappie.
Nice.
Had a great time. So yeah, it was cool. People don't learn as every athlete is going to do is not meant to be doing that. So give a break. No, I'm 100% on board with that, JR Black. I'm not criticizing athletes of any generation, because obviously we talk about athletes for a living. Some of us may have had athletic careers as children, but these guys doing it at this level, and if you don't appreciate it, I can't help you.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing the athletes. I'm criticizing the actual training philosophy, which is resulting in so many injuries, because you're really just pushing the body to go as fast as possible, or as strong as possible, without worried about the potential drawbacks of that. At least that's my takeaway.
Somebody was talking earlier about windups and how it seems it was a lot more loose and carefree.
I mentioned the torque. I mean, the amount of immediate pressure you have when you place that step when you turn is crazy.
Yep, absolutely right. Ricky Henderson never lifted weights. I believe that.
Other than the early part of his career, he was a little bit muscular when he joined the Yankees. A little bit at the end of the career.
James Mountain says, or James S says, these guys are skipping games over stomach issues. Come on. Again, dude, I'm not.
That's more basketball, but yeah.
I'm not criticizing anybody for whatever health reason they claim. If they're faking it, okay. But sometimes does it seem like these guys, were tougher back in the day, quote unquote, perhaps. But then again, how shortened were their careers over things they didn't deal with, or how many games did they end up missing? Maybe they missed 40 games over something they could have got taken care of today and missed 10 games.
I'm also not sure if the players were softer or just they didn't have enough media coverage back then, so you didn't really know when anybody was skipping games for weak reasons.
Right.
Or now on Twitter, you have access to everything, even the athletes directly, so you can criticize them personally. Where back in the 80s, if somebody was injured, you didn't find out about it until either the game or the following paper.
Yeah, absolutely right. 1777 saying the hitters are better now. It's the stress. Yeah, and that's a real measurable thing that if you follow Saber analytics stuff, they talk about high leverage and low leverage. So I actually used that in a non-baseball context yesterday. My wife had a rough day at work. I said, "No, sorry, you had a bad day. It was a long day." She goes, "Well, I had to work 6 hours." I go, "Yeah, but it was high leverage." So, yeah, I got to explain that. So, you know what? We got something else to talk about here, Scott, and this we have to address this as well. We don't usually do two, but again, these both deserve to be mentioned. So, we're going to take a break on solving the pitching problem right now, and find out who didn't piss us off yesterday. But my God, how disappointing! How disappointing could they be? All right, Scott, we could have also nominated this team for the Not Exactly Fast Learners Award. What do you got?
So it's going to be the play-in game in the Eastern Conference with the Hornets in particular, as they took on the Hawks yesterday. And we know that the Hornets got killed. However, that is not a new story because the Hornets were in the play-in game last year and they got killed again. So to go through the actual numbers here, it is the second straight season that the Hornets lost a play-in game by more than 26 points. They lost by 27 to Indiana last year. They lost by 29 yesterday. To make matters worse, the Hornets had a poster put up of the ESPN score from that Pacers play-in game. And instead of losing by 27, they lost by 29. So you might need a new motivational poster.
Oof.
Just saying. Not good.
Not good. Not good, Bob. All right.
I liked Atlanta yesterday, but I didn't like them that much. I thought they'd win by 7 or something, but 29. Like Charlotte, after last year, you got to show up.
I went total contrarian because you look at it and Atlanta kind of jumped off the page, and then you're like, wait a minute. And again, you try to, anytime you see something like that, I always try to take the other side and give myself reasons not to take it. And I found enough of them that I actually ended up taking Charlotte. So much for the contrarian play of jumping on the Dogs. Bad day for the Dogs.
It wasn't your fault that nobody on Charlotte could shoot. LaMelo was awful. Rozier was bad. Nobody really did anything. Like the entire team just no-showed. And they also couldn't guard anybody, which we already knew.
Yep. Not good. Not good at all. All right, my friend. What do we got going here? Dan says cringe. I don't even know what that's about. It could be.
I haven't asked though. Do you think that's a coaching issue? Like how many times? I think Borregos is a decent coach, and I do think the roster's flawed. Plus, you're also missing Gordon Hayward, who you're paying $30+ million, and he's injured all the time.
Right.
But at what point do you realize that the coach maybe is just not doing enough to get the team motivated for big games?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you have guys that come out and don't make shots, I don't know how you can coach that.
I don't know either. But
I mean,
2 straight years?
Do you want him to go out right before? Don't forget, guys, don't miss fucking shots. Okay?
I think it's the defense as well, though. Like at some point, you got to change up the philosophy. I know that Charlotte's roster doesn't have many great defensive players, but at some point, you got to change the philosophy. You got to dig in or something because you can't keep giving up 130 in playing games.
No, I think if you want to take issue with the defense and maybe the offense not getting enough opportunities or not getting favorable opportunities because the defense sucks. You're not getting anything in transition. I mean, that's certainly a conversation you could have. But as far as just shooting goes, I don't know how you blame
The
coach
shooting
there.
is what it is. Like, they had a bad game, but defensively, they've been awful for what, 2 years?
Yeah, that's it. Peter Wolf was saying exactly what I was bringing up. Yeah, defense can absolutely be coached. No question about it. You can scheme. You can put athletes in better positions. Yeah, a lot you can do on defense.
I think if you're looking for an in-game wager next year, I do not mind Borregos to be first coach fired midseason.
Okay.
Like, if they end up struggling out of the gate and the defense doesn't improve, Michael Jordan might get the quick trigger and might just move on.
Possible.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Moving the ball offensively can be coached as Pop of the Spurs. Yeah.
Well, I thought Borregos was a disciple of Popovich, wasn't he?
Yes, he's on his tree, right? Yeah.
That's what I thought he was.
Yep. So, and maybe, I mean, do you tailor, it's kind of the age-old question, do you tailor your offense to your athletes? Do you tailor your athletes to the offense?
I'm a bigger believer in trying to work with the talent you have instead of forcing them to fit your system. I think it's kind of a compromise on both sides, but I do think you need some fluidity there. And I do believe that constantly adjusting to your overall roster is definitely the way to go, at least in my opinion. There's no point in trying to jam a square peg into a round hole.
What do you think of a Titan getting drafted in the first round? It's at 475.
I'm really trying to think if you're looking at a situation where a tight end would be taken. I don't see it. I mean, the favorite is going to be McBride, right? The Colorado State tight end.
Yep, that's what they're talking about.
Or not? It's O'Brien, right? That's his name.
What the? Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, it's the kid for Colorado State.
Yeah, I believe it's O'Brien. I think. Might be butchering that, but either way, I know he was great, but I don't think he's going to be a first-round pick.
You think
it's Trey O'Brien, right?
Trey O'Brien.
I think.
Looking it up. LaMelo just needs to be more selfish and just take over this team. Different, but I like it. He's a good kid, good talent. I can see that. Yeah, like Trey. Trey. Okay. Yep. Hornets had one of the worst defenses in the NBA in terms of points allowed. Yep. I agree.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a situation where you can point the fingers at the players all you want, but you're going to end up blaming it on the coach anyway, or the coach is in charge of organizing that philosophy, and Borregos isn't cutting it. Yeah, he's saying it's McBride. Yeah, okay. So I thought it was O'Brien, McBride. Yeah, either way. I watched him at Colorado
Trey
State.
McBride, yes. Now
he's great.
I hear the name altogether, yes.
He reminds me a lot of Kittle. Now, I'm not sure if he has the same athleticism as Kittle, but he's definitely a freight train when he has the ball in his hands. I don't think he's going to be in the first round, but he will be the first tight end off the board.
Anthony Beblo says, I may need a motivational poster after tonight's play of the day. Yeah, it's been Ice Station fucking zebra here, Scott. I think we're at 5 running. And I know you hit your cold streak a 3 weeks back. It's no fun. It's no fun. The other thing,
I was on a cold streak and then I won like 10 of 11. So, it comes in waves.
Yeah, it does. And the weird thing is my premiums have been really good like the last week. So I don't understand it. Apparently I have exactly X number of picks, but I don't have X plus one more. So
the X hex carried over to you. The X hex.
The X hex. I really, having said that, I really like my play of the day today. I like this. I like this Royals and the Detroit over. This Royals pitching staff is so bad, and it's amazing, dude. They're last in the league in ERA, and they had a game where they allowed no runs and a game where they allowed 1 run, and they've still managed to be last in 4.
That was the first 2 games of the season.
Right. In the last 4 games, they've been awful. So yeah, I've already got one. I've got the cat hanging onto the limb. I got hang in there, baby. So I may need to look into other motivational posters if that one doesn't do it today. So Scott, I know it's baseball. I know you got a hockey play. Anything else? And no, dude. Yeah, James, that's not. I appreciate that sentiment because it's a free pick. But then again, if I'm presenting myself on YouTube and I'm asking people to watch me, presenting myself as someone having a modicum of knowledge about what I'm talking about, then I expect to win. I certainly expect to put up more winners than losers. So while I can understand that, I don't use that as a cop out. It's like, well, it's a free pick, so fuck you if you lose. It was not my fault. No, I don't do that. If you guys take the time to tune in, if you watch, make some comments, put your own plays in, whatever, then my part of that contract is to put as good a picks out there as I can. So winning.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm just a prideful person. So
well, then there's that, right?
Which is a whole separate thing. I do it for pride because, of course, you have a premium service. I don't, so I'm just giving out the free stuff because I like doing free plays. But it's all about pride for me.
Yep, very good. Your favorite?
I see Brad talking about his best bet is the under 8 in the Braves Padres game. I like that as well. Morton has been really just consistent for about a decade and change. Yep. Musgrove usually gets off the hot starts, then kind of fades at the halfway point of the season. But I do like the under there. The Padres offensively have been okay. The Braves offensively, can we say, have been a bit underwhelming?
Yeah, they have so far. Braves averaging just 4.9 runs per game, which probably puts them right about in the middle of the pack as far as. But again, it's kind of misleading because with this few games, if you get I think they scored 16 against Washington. So if you look at the rest of them, it's not that impressive. I guess I'm just because I've been following you for years, and that's why you're still here. Good content, no matter what. People will complain. Oh, and you're absolutely right, James. People, and because I'm engaged with the comment section, it's people know I'm going to see it in there. So and I definitely get roasted, and as long as people keep it respectful, you're okay. If you're a dick about it, you're going into the airlock. It's just the way it is. What's your favorite baseball play tonight, buddy?
So we're saving one of our plays for baseball later on.
What's your second favorite baseball play tonight, buddy?
I was going to say the play that we're going to have is going to be quite amusing. Let's put it that way. But looking at the rest of the card here, I do like Toronto in the spot tonight. I know the Yankees, of course, as a fan, I thought were a pretty mediocre team going into the year. We both weren't big fans of them. Guerrero Jr.'s potentially hungover from his 3 home run performance yesterday, but you have Gausman against Severino. Both pitchers were not great in their first outing, but Severino only went 3 innings. Of course, it was one of his first appearances since the injury last year. So he's going to have a relatively short leash. The Yankees bullpen should be a bit taxed because Cole did not give them as much length as they wanted. But the Yankees minus 135, I think Gausman's better than Severino. And Toronto's been hitting the ball better than the Yankees. Give me Toronto at plus money.
Yep. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I hit that yesterday as a premium. I'll write it again today. I'm a fan of the Chicago Cubs, Colorado Rockies under. Okay. It was 11.5. It's down to 11. I don't love that as much, obviously, but
I was kind of tempted by the Cubs in that one.
Because 5-5 doesn't give you the win. That's the problem. Yeah. You were tempted what?
I was kind of tempted by the Cubs in the game against the Rockies. I know the Rockies are 4-1 and that they're at home.
Right.
I'm not laying with the Rockies. The Cubs are a decent team.
Yep.
They didn't perform well yesterday, mostly because Hendricks got absolutely shelled. But Freeland has an ERA of 12+. Steele gave up no runs in his one outing.
Yeah, he was very
value on the Cubs.
He was very efficient. He faced 17 batters, retired 16 of them. So Justin Steele was decent last year. We'll see if he's taking a big step forward this year.
I think I'm just anti-Freeland. I used to be a big Freeland guy, especially when he started the wild card game against the Cubs a couple years ago. Then he hit a wall, got injured, and he's been pretty underwhelming ever since.
Okay. Kingme says he likes the Rockies there.
You can go either way, but I think it's a coin flip. I'll take plus money on a coin flip.
Yep. I said if you do like the Rockies, you're getting a decent price there. So, all right, buddy. Well, let's move on. Let's do it to it. We've got one thing left to talk about. We are not heading into this segment on a winning streak, but we are going to get ready to start a new one. So, it's sort of a meme play, Scott.
Well, yeah, it's a meme play. It's a fun one.
Okay. All right.
I see we're not alone though on the potential play. So there we go.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Let's get ready. It's Thursday. It's almost the weekend, so you can wear those overalls one more day. You don't have to have your fancy weekend overalls out, but put them on, would you? Put your straw hat on. Join Scott and I as we put our straw hats on. Climb aboard that John Deere. Get that lucky keychain out with that rabbit's foot. Give it a rub. Put them in the ignition and get ready, folks, to bet the Farm.
Yeah, I don't have a hat today, so just deal with it.
What? Oh, no, not again.
Yep. And we got to switch it up. We lost yesterday. We got to switch things
So,
up.
ironically, when you're in front of the shed, you don't have a hat.
Well, it's not going to matter in like 2 weeks anyway. I'll have a hat the entire time. So
Why is that? Oh, because you'll have your own place.
yeah. So
Oh,
not
it'll
gonna
be
matter
weird.
anyway.
That's right. We'll see you in the same background and everything.
Yep.
All right, very good, Scott. We're gonna dip our toe in the Nerfy pond. It's the Nerfy pond, everybody. No runs, first inning. Phillies, Marlins, -120. It's me, right?
Yeah, it's you.
Okay, that's why I was doing it. I just had a
Yeah, it's you.
horrible feeling. So, couple reasons for this. Number one, it's trendy. All the cool kids are doing it. No, Miami. The next time they score in the first inning, it'll be the first time. They have not scored a run in the first inning so far this season. Meanwhile, Philadelphia, they're right in the middle of the pack. They scored a half a run per first inning. That is 15th in the league. Kyle Gibson, Mizzou grad, Scott. Kyle Gibson, pitching for Philadelphia. You know how those Tigers are. They can throw that freaking baseball. He's made a great start in his new home there in Philly. 7 innings pitched, no runs in his first start of the season. Meanwhile, Sandy Alcantara goes for Miami. He has a career ERA of 3.08 in the first inning. Probably be the first of many times we fade this Miami offense in some form or another. Tonight, we're going to do it with the no-run first inning. The Nerfy, Scott, -120. Good price over there at DraftKings.
Well, we also got to mention that it's going to be in Marlins Park or Lone Depot Park, whatever you want to call it. So the fact is, it's already a pitcher's-friendly park. You have 2 good pitchers on the mound. -120 in Marlins Park does sound extremely low. I figured that would be around like 130, 135.
Yep.
With
Again,
Alcantara on the mound, you don't get many -120s for the first inning.
Correct. We're going to take that. It's a very good price. I know this Phillies team has been hitting a lot, and that's why the price is down. But I think Alcantara can at least get through the early part of that Phillies lineup with limited damage. So that's going to do it for our farm play, and that's going to do it for the show today, guys. Thanks for stopping by. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to stop by tomorrow. We're going to have Allie Burns on the show. And, of course, right after that, we'll be doing our NASCAR show as we all thudded back to earth last week, Scott. That thud you heard was everyone crashing back to the ground after a pretty good week the week before. But we're going to talk about that on the NASCAR show and preview my favorite race of the season. It's the Bristol race on dirt that'll be on Sunday night. So, you guys, stay tuned for that. As always, we appreciate you being here. One more time, don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the comments. And, we'll just do it again tomorrow. You guys check us out. Usual time, same bad channel. Friday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Scott and I will once again do our very best to help you to head back to